日本時間7月17日、首位を独走するドジャースと低迷を極めるメッツによる注目の3連戦が行われ、ドジャースが2勝1敗でカード勝ち越しを決めました。今季1四球 ERA プラス85イニングで95奪三振を記録し、マウンドで圧巻の投球を見せていた大谷翔平ですが、ブルペン投球後に膝の状態が悪化し、デーブ・ロバーツ監督から登板計画の一時中断、シャットダウンが発表される事態となりました。米メディアや現地ファンの間では、ポストシーズンまで無理に投げさせるべきではない。12ゲーム差の首位に入るチームがリスクを冒す意味があるのかと慎重論が噴出し、議論が白熱しています。ここからはその様子を字幕付きでご紹介します。
It went well if you were a Dodgers fan.
Tends to happen.
Yeah.
Yes, we apologize for not being more locked in this weekend. Obviously, it's vacation season. There's a lot going on. You get the idea. But Dodgers take 2 out of 3 from the Mets. Raise your hand if you're surprised. If I'm the Dodgers at that point, I'm like annoyed that I lost on Sunday. Like, we don't need to lose any games to this team that's 18 games under 500. So the Mets won on Sunday 8-3. Lindor hit well. I mean, there was times in this series where you felt like it was actually the Mets that should have taken 2 out of 3 because obviously they had chances. They had McClain on the mound on, I believe, Saturday. But honestly, like the whole discourse and discussion around it has been how the potential trade pieces have been performing well for the Mets, because we all know that next week trade deadline's August 3rd, I believe at 3 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Eastern, somewhere around there. And it's going to be a fire sale. But Tyrone Taylor really hit well in this series. Freddie Peralta had a good start in this series. Those are guys that you just don't expect to be a Met in a week's time, a little over a week. Freddie Peralta literally already said, I kind of expect this to be my last start in New York, and it's upsetting. And that is upsetting if you're Freddie Peralta, frankly, because you signed a deal in free agency 6 short months ago that you thought, new contract, you're here now, you're starting to Met, and that's just not what's happening.
No, not at all. The Dodgers won 4-2 on Friday, 4-3 on Saturday, and then the Mets won 8-3 yesterday. At this point, I'm going to be honest with this podcast, we just can't sit here and go through game by game because it's just too troubling. And frankly, nobody wants to hear it.
And we can't act like it matters for the Mets.
They're 18 and a half games back, games behind.
Right.
I mean, it's not looking good, and it's just easier, I feel, to talk about big picture things. Big picture of the Dodgers, things are going great. Feeling really excited about them and feeling like they are definitely the contender to win the NL. That being said, I also think, yes, as the trade deadline approaches, important conversations need to be had about what happens next. You mentioned this when we were off the air a little while ago. David Stearns will go up there and say some things, but he's not super explicit, meaning he hasn't gone out there and actually said it's going to be a fire sale and we haven't performed the way we needed to perform to be able to actually compete here and make some sort of a push. But we can just all see with our own eyes that that's what's going to happen anyway.
I mean, they've got Freddie Peralta 9 days before the deadline up there in his locker, saying goodbye. All right. Things are pretty crystal clear if you're catching my drift. David Stearns is still out there last week being like, we hope to, retain some major league talent, bring in some major league talent. This maybe isn't a situation where we're solely looking for prospects like some other teams. That's all great and fine. And he can honestly say whatever he wants anymore. I don't have a David Stearns rant in me today. I really have, the last few. I have progressed to, as much as it appalls me to say it, somewhat of apathy with the whole situation because it's a train. One thing before we get into the Mets and the trade deadline and all that, because it's still in a week, I do want to touch on Shohei Ohtani, if you're a Dodgers fan, shut down from pitching. How are we feeling about that if you're a Dodgers fan? Because we had touched on that 2 weeks ago before your vacation. And, it was kind of like, all right, we're just going to give him a little break before the All-Star break, see what happens. He has had some regression in that knee of his. Knee soreness, minor knee injury. He was scheduled to throw a bullpen on Saturday, but it was delayed. Dave Roberts said the delay was due to a regression in his knee after a bullpen earlier in the week. Roberts admitted that Ohtani taking a step back in his recovery was, quote, not ideal. He did say that he fully expects Ohtani to take the mound again at some point this season. And it's going to take some time. They're not considering it a day-to-day thing, and there's still no timetable for him to pitch again. The last time he pitched was on July 3rd. I mean, what do you think about this? If you're a Dodgers fan, obviously it's not, as Dave Roberts would say, it's not ideal.
You never want to hear that there really is no timeline. I think that's the kind of thing that's concerning to fans. Is like I mean, I'll say this, at least like Roberts is smart in that he doesn't want to overpromise anything and then underdeliver, especially with a guy like Shohei Ohtani. You have to be careful, I think, about that. But I don't know. I mean, at the point that they're at right now, I just feel like he's such a gem. He's so one of one, and the things that he does for your team are so important that I frankly just don't see any reason to rush it. Like, he's the kind of player that you might even just need to be cautious about. You might even just need to give a few extra days of rest just to be sure. Especially with pitching, I just feel like it's a position that's so fickle and so many things can go wrong at any given time that I don't think that you want to risk any more injury to something that already is hurting him and clearly has been progressing in a not so great direction at this time.
Yeah, before the injury, he had a 1.79 ERA this season. That's
crazy.
absurd. Striking out 95 batters in 85 innings. He started 14 games. But even so, I mean, he's still their DH. He's still out there every day. Right now, he's 22 home runs, 62 RBIs, hitting 286. Like, he's still a prominent character in that lineup and on that team. I think if you're the Dodgers, I mean, if you need to at this point, shut him down till the playoffs. Like, I don't really see, maybe Dodgers fans would disagree with that. Maybe give him a start or two in like the last week of September to ramp things up, sure, right? But otherwise, why are we going to risk him out there in meaningless games at the end of August?
That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that they don't need him on the mound. I'm just saying they don't need him right now. Like, these games for the Dodgers are about as meaningful as games at this point in the season are for the Mets. Do you know what I mean? It's
the
just
opposite
not that
way.
meaningful.
Right. Like, nothing's that meaningful, but like the other way.
It's just all good. Like, they're in a position where I feel like they have enough breathing room. That's not to say that you want to see them go on some crazy losing streak, but I just think that when you weigh the risk, you weigh the reward. I don't see any reason to rush a guy like Shohei Ohtani in his recovery, but that's just me.
The Dodgers are literally leading the division. If you haven't looked up these things in a while, the Dodgers are atop the NL West. They're 12 games ahead of the Diamondbacks. 12 games. And then, I mean, it falls off from there.
I mean, that is stark.
12
That is stark. It is like... oh, God.
The NL West is not very good. The NL Central is very good this year. If you don't have a pulse on that, by the way, the NL Central is stacked. The Pirates are in like 4th place in the NL Central, and they have a wild card spot if the season ends today. So the NL Central is where it's at.
Okay, let's go NL Central. Yeah, I mean, listen, we'll see what happens with Shohei Ohtani, but I think the Dodgers are in a good spot, and the Mets aren't. It went well if you were a Dodgers fan.
Tends to happen.
Yeah.
Yes, we apologize for not being more locked in this weekend. Obviously, it's vacation season. There's a lot going on. You get the idea. But Dodgers take 2 out of 3 from the Mets. Raise your hand if you're surprised. If I'm the Dodgers at that point, I'm like annoyed that I lost on Sunday. Like, we don't need to lose any games to this team. That's 18 games under 500. So the Mets won on Sunday 8-3. Lindor hit well. I mean, there was times in this series where you felt like it was actually the Mets that should have taken.
今回のドジャース対メッツの3連戦、そして大谷翔平投手の登板再開計画の中断に関する現地メディアの議論は、チームの置かれた現状を非常に的確に反映しています。まず大谷投手についてですが、7月3日の登板以降、ブルペン入りを経て、膝の違和感が再発したことで、登板計画が延期されました。今季は地15イニングで、95奪三振、防御率1、79走と ERR プラス179という圧倒的な成績を残しているだけに、ファンとしては投手、大谷の姿を早く見たいところですが、ドジャースはリーグ西地区で2位ダイヤモンドバックス20にゲーム差をつける独走状態にあります。打者としてすでに22本塁打、62打点をマークし、打率280と打線の軸として、チームを牽引している現状を考えれば、8月のレギュラーシーズンで無理にマウンドに上げるリスクを冒す必要は皆無と言えます。ロバーツ監督が述べる通り、9月終盤に一頭に試合登板させて、実戦感覚を取り戻させ、プレーオフに万全の状態で臨ませるのが最善のシナリオでしょう。一方のメッツは、首位から18、5ゲーム差と低迷し、フレディ、ペラルタをはじめとする主力投手の放出準備を進めるなど、トレード期限に向けた解体モードに入っています。リーグ中地区が激しいワイルドカード争いにある中、ドジャースはいかに主力選手の健康を維持しながら、ポストシーズンにピークを合わせられるかが、今季のワールドシリーズ制覇への最大の鍵となります。皆さんは、大谷翔平投手の登板計画中だというドジャースの判断や、 無理をさせずにプレーオフに備える方針についてどう思われますか？ぜひコメント欄でご意見をお聞かせください。そして、この動画が良かったら、高評価とチャンネル登録をよろしくお願いします。それでは、また次回の動画でお会いしましょう。